Welcome to the Las Vegasville podcast, brought to you by Jump Studios, where we cover topics related to everything happening around Sin City, including the social media scene, food, and a whole lot more, with some of the best, most popular accounts around the city, and talk about their success in Vegas and beyond. I'm your host, Philip Zhang, aka Las Vegas Phil. Check me out on IG or TikTok, and feel free to text or leave me a voicemail at 702-551-4445. On with the show. Okay, welcome to this week's show. While we've primarily focused on Las Vegas-based creators, I'm excited to have this week's guest on the show. Christopher Lamb, better known as @TheIrregularLens on IG, is a longtime content creator and food influencer and blew up big during the early stages of food porn social media. Originally learning his craft as a photographer, working for his parents' wedding photography business on the weekends while in high school, he took everything he learned in that craft and applied it to food. In turn, Chris honestly became one of the premier food photographers out there and became really the gold standard of what food and food porn pics could be, with literally hundreds of thousands of pics going viral globally. He's probably responsible for selling a quarter of the fried chicken in the state of California. He definitely inspired a bunch of us in Las Vegas back then. Some of us would try to recreate the same looks early on, and it was and still is a big deal when it comes to town to do content. Since then, he's moved around a bit and has unique perspective into different cities, food scenes from LA to Vegas to San Fran to Seattle, with a bunch of spots in his travels as well. With 358K on IG, we're super excited to have Christopher Lamb, aka @TheIrregularLens, on the podcast.
Hey y'all. Thanks for having me.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a while since we saw each other, right?
Yeah. Gosh, maybe like last year at the Virgin Hotel's
grand opening. Was the last time we hung out.
That's the last time we hung out.
That's crazy. That was one of the greatest events I think was ever put on for an influencer, like at least in Vegas.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was the first time someone actually ever flew me out and like paid for my accommodations and like, hey, here's like some food credit and like drinking credit and go party with like a bunch of other Las Vegas foodies, content creators, fashion bloggers, etc.
Yeah, it was a great time. One of the first big events post-COVID, and that was weird to like be in a concert again and see all that stuff. But it was cool. It was cool. What brings you out to Vegas this time around?
Yeah, honestly, just hitting the town, just catching up with friends like Ryu, you guys. Haven't seen you guys in a while, so figured just hop over. And then my girlfriend, she went to EDC, so tagging along there too. Nice.
How come you didn't go this year? I know you're big EDM.
I do enjoy the scene, but I have work, so priorities first.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's get into beginnings a little bit. You grew up in Southern California, and then photography's kind of been in the blood of the family, right?
Yeah. My dad has been a wedding photographer, gosh, maybe like 30 years. They started off like everyone else, like in their garage, and then they were able to pivot to get like a business in Temple City. That's kind of like where all the like wedding shops kind of started popping up for some whatever reason. So there, if you go to Temple City, I don't know much about now, but you go to like every block, there's at least like 2 or 3 for like a good 5 blocks on Temple City Boulevard. But yeah, I would go with my dad. Started in middle school, and he would quote unquote drag me to weddings, help him out on the weekends, but got a really cool perspective of like, and I was like pretty young at the age, so weddings and that type of scene didn't really like.
Yeah, when you're a kid, who wants to go to that?
I didn't, yeah. I wanted to stay home, watch cartoons, wake up, watch cartoons, play video games, hang out with my friends, go to movies with my friends, but had to help out my family. And so I did that from middle school up until end of high school, and then I had to go to college and like get a real quote unquote real job, so I had to like let that go.
Wow. So, and then you just had your own camera. They gifted you a camera. You just took one of your dad's and just started shooting. Is that?
Oh, for like the food or just in general?
Oh no, just for wedding stuff.
Oh yeah. My dad had a separate Nikon camera, like I think it was like a D200. So what my objective was to get the perspective of like candid shots. My dad would be more on the main guy, so he'll direct and like pose people, and I'd be on the side or next to him, Especially if like when the bride and groom are walking down the aisle, I'm just catching those candid photos of like the family, you know, their smiles, joys, and tears and whatnot. I'm just capturing those moments because, you know, his focus is the couple and as they're walking down the line and more of the action stuff.
Nice. So what do your parents think about your side gig now?
They're pretty. My dad and parents, they'll like brag about it or like share it with like their customers. Like, oh yeah, you know, he does a 9 to 5, but he also has like this little side gig that he does, like working with restaurants. And I think the most thing that they're most happy about is when I bring home a bunch of leftovers.
Right.
That you guys are so familiar with, right? When you do a content shoot, there's a bunch of food that's left over. None of them goes to waste. I bring it all back and I share it with my friends, and they love it that like they get to like try like different restaurants from different types of cuisines that they normally wouldn't go out themselves to try.
And one thing, you're actually the first guest with a. Actually, no, that's not true. Second guest with a Taiwanese background.
Oh.
Talk to me about that. Did your parents move from Taiwan to the States? Did they meet there first?
Yeah, no. So I'm more Taiwan. So my mom is Taiwanese. My dad is like Chinese Vietnamese.
Oh, okay.
So my mom moved here from Taiwan, Taichung, when she was like 16, and then she met my dad here in high school. Fun fact: they actually share the same birthday, but just off 2 years off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So my dad's from Vietnam, and then my mom's from Taiwan. So yeah, I'll occasionally go back, really, and then went to Chinese school. So I'm more on the Taiwanese side, like learned Mandarin, learned Taiwanese, versus like didn't really learn Vietnamese growing up.
When was the last time you were in Taiwan?
Oh man, 2016. My sister graduated from college, so my mom took her as a graduation gift, took us to Taiwan.
Oh, nice.
And that was nice. But dying to go back.
Yeah, I was back in 2019. We did 10 days, and it definitely wasn't enough. And,
Yeah.
And I want to go back for sure. It was amazing. What caused you to make the decision to start posting food in the first place?
I think it stemmed back like 10 years ago when Instagram first launched. And so you know how like people created their own accounts as a personal account just to kind of share like, you know, photos of their food or like, you know, lifestyle stuff like that. So I have a background in wedding photography, and I love food, like going out to eat and like trying new places. I was like, and then so when Instagram launched, the Explore page was just filled with just like random stuff. And I'd come across like food porn type of like content, and I would click into it and I'll be like, wow, this looks pretty cool. Like, how do I do this? So I just like went back, and then so whenever I went to a new restaurant, I just take like photos. Video wasn't so big back then, so just photos, and just kind of like trying to like mimic their style and like learn from that. And then so when that kind of picked up, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Like editing was really fun. And then so I did that, and then you know, then you start to network, you start to like tag other people and hashtags, and your thing starts to show up and you get to like meet new people. But that's kind of how it started.
Any chance you remember when you first posted a food pic?
Oh my God.
I know.
2013, 2014 maybe?
You might have erased it then or archived it.
I might have archived it. Yeah, I might have archived it.
Okay. The first one on record is July 4th, 2015.
2015?
I'm not even sure what it is. It looks like a crazy cordon bleu burger or something.
Well, I don't remember.
Something out of an oven. But you posted that, but it didn't seem like you didn't go full foodie until maybe February of 2016, and then you ran it up to 5K pretty quick in October of 2016. Which foodies that you hung out back then are still in it now?
Yeah. Gosh. Good Eats. Andy. Eats with Anthony. Who else? Celine. Christine.
Yeah. Back then too?
I think so. And then I think one of the biggest ones that kind of brought me out was Andy Nguyen, the co-founder of Afters.
Yeah.
He's the one one of the OGs for sure. Him, Andy, yeah. $2 tacos, Andy, the other Andy, Orange County Cuisine. So those are the ones that kind of come top of mind.
Right, and it's been kind of interesting, like the crazy path that all of those guys have taken, you've taken as well.
Yeah.
One thing that's really interesting to me is that you've chosen to keep a professional life when you could have easily been doing 6 figures plus just doing this. Can you talk to me about the conscious decision to keep them separate?
Yeah. I don't know. I always enjoyed the 9 to 5. Call me crazy, but it's just more. I'm a very structured person, so if I wake up, I have to wake up at a certain time, and I like end my day at a certain time, and I guess that's just how my brain is built. And one of the passions that I like to keep, or that I've kept growing up, was like, I don't know, just learned it more recently, is project management. And so like it really caters to like my personality and how I like my brain works. So it's just something that I always wanted to like keep separate from the food world, because being a content creator, I like to have that as my creative outlet. Like if I went full time with it, I think I feel like I might lose or that magic. So I just want to like, like at the end of the day or like on the weekends, I like to dedicate those time to do the content creation, because it's like totally different from my 9 to 5, right? And so being able to like try new restaurants is still, and like work with small business owners and trying different places and travel, like I like to keep that separate.
That's still the hobby.
Still a hobby.
Right, still the escape. And yeah, that's been an interesting thing for a lot of us in Vegas. When we quit our jobs, the hobby became the job. So it's the hobby now.
Which nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
What do you do for work, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm a program manager. So another way to phrase is like program management, or I'm sorry, project management.
Okay. And then you currently live in Seattle?
Yeah, I live in Seattle right now.
All right. So through that time when you got your first job in SC in Southern California?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you've been in that field the entire time?
No. So I got my undergrad degree in business. Okay, so a little backstory. I went to undergrad first as a civil engineer. And then like halfway through, I was like, this isn't for me. Like it just was things were taking too long to click, and I just couldn't really envision myself like being a civil engineer. So I made like the random switch to just switch over to business, and then just like emphasize and worried about the emphasis a little bit later as I got more acclimated in the business curriculum. And then did an internship at USC Verdugo Hills Hospital. And then I was like, it's pretty cool. I enjoy the healthcare environment, but with the HR focus. So I decided to emphasize on HR. Graduated, got my first job as an HR coordinator at a CPA firm, did full cycle recruiting, some benefits, and then went back to school to get my master's in healthcare admin.
Oh, wow.
To get back in touch with that healthcare field.
Yeah.
Finished that, and then I made the conscious decision to not apply for any roles in SoCal. I wanted to live in North Cal, like SF. Just drop everything, just move up there. And so I found this role, HR position, HR project coordinator at McKesson, and then just packed my bags, literally just 2 suitcases, and just moved up. Lived there for about 2 years, and then felt like healthcare wasn't really for me anymore. It was just not enough to move the needle in my experience. And then so got the opportunity was presented the opportunity actually to be a project coordinator at Amazon. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll take the plunge. Let's just see. As a contractor, it's different from as a full-time employee. So took the plunge, worked my ass off, and then was able to get a full-time role, and then transitioned to a full-time. So been there since then.
Nice. When did the foodie thing initially blow up for you? When did it become next level?
Oh, wow. I can't exactly pinpoint a point in time, but gosh, probably when maybe 2017, 2018, when they like, where people were just, there were more people onboarding into Instagram, more people were like, and then as the app was being more further developed, there were just more people on there across the world, right? I think it was expanding across the world. So I think around then, yeah.
Okay, so when you go out, like, when did money start coming in for you?
Oh,
when they're paying you for posts?
Yeah, maybe around 2018 to 2019. I think that's also when I first got my first restaurant account to manage. It was Brick and Flour, and it was a Tex-Mex place in Glendale. They really liked my style of shooting, and they wanted to like incorporate that into their like page.
And then how many social media clients did you end up having at the peak?
Oh gosh, I think at one point I was running like 13 accounts and going to school.
Dang.
Yeah, so a lot of time management there.
Yeah. Two
Yeah.
phones.
I actually had to get another like they don't have it now, but it's it's that little like iPhone where you know what I'm talking about, where it just plays music or whatever. Yes, the iPod. I had to get an iPod Touch. Yeah.
You can post Instagram on iPod Touch?
Yeah, you just hook up on the Wi-Fi and then you just post on it, because you can download the apps on there.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a lot cheaper than the phone.
Oh, it was so hard to post because
Oh my
the phone
God.
was so small and my fingers are so big, so it's like hard to click.
Yeah, so the keyboard is still on the screen?
It was still it was a touch screen.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I lower, you know, because Instagram only has X amount of accounts you can log in at.
Yeah,
So we
which
had
sucks.
to make sure. But as time grew, I got less accounts, and then I ditched the phone.
So 13 accounts, then you choose to drop everything and move to San Fran for professionally. I mean, I think there's a lot of people in Vegas who wouldn't move out of here primarily because of their social media.
Yeah.
That hasn't stopped you at all. I mean, life experience, to be professional was a big thing. What was that like to pick up everything and move to San Fran and then kind of start over with your hobby
Yeah.
in a way?
Yeah.
Your whole life.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like my professional career comes first. So I had to definitely change my mindset. Luckily for me, North Cal and South Cal, the like Instagram craze, I guess you can say, is pretty close. There are a lot of Instagram content creators up there, a lot of restaurant owners who like working with content creators and like having their Instagram page similar. So the transition wasn't too bad, but I think building a whole new audience was like the toughest thing. Like switching, I had to do some market research too, like making sure I'm tagging like the SF repost accounts, making sure like I'm doing a little bit more, being more proactive in terms of reaching out to restaurants, like doing pro bono, just like, you know, local spots. And then leveraging the correct hashtags, because back then hashtags was a big thing, right? And tagging the repost pages was a big thing. So just making sure I'm using the correct ones, and filtering down to like more of the ones that don't have too many photos associated with the hashtag. So my photo would pop up because of like my history and like my seniorship in the Instagram world. So usually like my photos will be like more at the top. Yeah.
Who did you meet out there initially?
Who did I meet out there? Gosh, I think I was so busy with like my professional career. I didn't really like meet up too many Instagram content creators, but I did meet a lot of restaurant owners. So Aria with Charlie from Aria, and a couple other like random spots here and there I think mostly PR agencies too. I think there are more PR agencies that kind of like focus on marketing up there rather than leveraging like Instagram people to run their accounts. So it's a little bit of different environment up there in terms of like PR, who runs Instagram accounts. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, last time I remember I reached out to you about a sausage company that was looking for a San Fran creator to run their account, but it was pretty slim pickings.
It's
right?
pretty slim, yeah. They're a little bit more, back then there were some bigger ones and then there were some smaller ones that are still up and coming, but I think like the newer ones,
Barrier Foods.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. He runs accounts, but like I guess maybe like the smaller ones that were still up and coming, you know, they were doing it more of a, what is it, like personal versus like them dedicating to being more professional and like as a like their 9 to 5 or whatever. But yeah.
Sure. And then after San Fran, where did you move back to? LA?
I had to move back to SoCal. My company they were moving they closed their SF office, and then so they were moving to Dallas. And then I made the decision to not move to Dallas, so I moved back to SoCal.
And how did that feel? Did you miss San Fran? Were you happy to be back?
100% I miss San Fran. I loved just everything about San Francisco. It's a lot cooler, which is one of the reasons why I moved up there. But yeah, unfortunately I had to move back. And I haven't been there back since, but I do want to go back.
So in a perfect world, where would you live?
Gosh, I don't know. perfect world, I'd probably move back to LA.
Yeah.
I think just everything is there. Friends, family. Just you look to the east, you can go snowboard, mountains. Look to the west, the beaches. South, San Diego. I mean, North Cal. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people start questioning life when they end up in SoCal and start hanging out for a while. Like, should I have been here the whole time? But yeah, I get that. And then you made the move to Seattle, which is really cool because I mean, you think about it now. You have a full-on West Coast audience.
Yes.
You know, like all the major cities. I think all you're missing is probably Phoenix, and you're good to go.
Haven't been there yet.
What was that like moving to Seattle, and then starting over again?
Yeah.
Life-wise.
This one was a little tougher. Seattle, in a sense, is, in my opinion, not as caught up in the Instagram craze as compared to North Cal, SoCal, and Arizona and whatnot, and Vegas. So having to start over, and also in the same climate of Instagram doing their whole algorithm reconstruction and just like people switching over to TikTok, so I had to pivot to that a little bit. So this one was a lot tougher, and restaurants up there, they don't really work too much with content creators. So I did.
Interesting.
Yeah, I reached out. So, some of them would respond, which would be great. We built a connection. And like relationship there, but some of them would just like leave me on red, and nothing wrong with that. Maybe they're just busy, or maybe they didn't see it, but it's just like black and white kind of thing.
So when did it take a while for you to start shooting?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely had to make a conscious effort to reach out to Instagram pages, dedicate time after work to go in on weekends too. But then I got a sports injury, so I was basically hurt for a whole year. So I wasn't able to really create outside content. I had to also pivot to cooking content, which is fun.
Yeah, I saw you jumped into that a little bit. I mean, one of the most recent ones you did was like the ribeye breakfast sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something you'd like to do more of in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I think like to diversify my portfolio, like going into like the cooking scene has been fun. I think it's a little bit also intimidating because now there's so many like home cooks and professional cooks that pivoted to Instagram, and their reels, the videos that they content, it's like phenomenal. Yeah. So now you got to go against like that, and then you're creating recipes where you're like you think it's good, and then but you don't want any backlash. So it's a little like walking on eggshells a little bit. But you know, at the end of the day, like, it's your page. You just make whatever you want, and people like it. But yeah, I do want to dabble back into that. Just need some time.
Yeah, I think one of the things, if I could turn back time, I would do more cooking content.
Yeah.
I see what's happening now in the field in that area, and it's just amazing. The creativity and all that, and a whole different way of shooting.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. You got to have like the setup too, the correct setup. It's so different.
Yeah. How often are you using the DSLR versus the phone these days?
Gosh, I only use DSLR if I use it for like nature. Like if I go hiking, I'll take it out, or like I go to like travel, I'll bring it. But 99% of the time, it's my iPhone 14 Pro.
Is there a sub channel where Chris does like post like birds and nature?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was actually looking into that, but not yet. I just don't have the time yet.
Okay. When was your first time out to Las Vegas to shoot content?
Wow. Maybe 2016, maybe? I can't pinpoint the year. But I think it was the first time I reached out to like Drew from Unlocked, and also Ryu, because I was following their pages.
Yep.
And then met you guys shortly after.
Yep. Do you remember where you shot?
I think one of the spots that kind of pops up to mind is Bulgogi's. And also, what was it? Blue Ribbon Fried Chicken.
Blue Ribbon Fried Chicken. Maybe that you went to the one in downtown Summerlin?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he took me there. Okay. Drew took me there.
And then I think Paul flew you out the second time, right?
Paul flew me out one of the occasions. He wanted I don't know if it was the first time we met or maybe the second or third time, but he wanted to collab more and hit up some of the clients that he was running back then, and we did like this whole food tour that nobody does anymore, but it was so prominent back then.
Yep.
You would hit like 6 spots back to back. There'd be no breaks. But it was fun though.
Yeah. Did you do that in LA too? Like on weekends where you just 5 shoots in one day, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Since I worked full time, didn't have time to really drive out. LA traffic is crazy. There's no way you're gonna drive anywhere.
I don't know how you guys do it. Like, how would you even hit up 5 restaurants on a Saturday?
Yeah, so you
in LA.
You start off at like 7, 8 a.m. No, 7, 8 a.m. Get some coffee, just like chill out a little bit, and then your day really starts at like 10. Then you allocate maybe an hour and a half to each spot, and then dedicate the last 30 for commuting, and then you have to like make sure you have a shot list each place because you're not gonna go there.
You create a shot list prior.
Each one.
Wow.
I do my research. I do create a shot list. I also do estimate how much time it takes from one spot to another. So I try to like bundle them in like a similar geographical location because I'm not going from like Buena Park to K-Town and then like Glendale. I do like all 5 in like the Glendale area, Burbank location, and then the next weekend I'll do like OC or something.
Okay, and San Fran was probably the same pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, I didn't have a car.
Oh yeah.
I
What are you on the BART?
I took the bus, or I walked.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, that was your first foray into Vegas. What do you like about Vegas when you come out here these days?
These days there's just so many different food spots that you guys run. I think it's ever changing. I think consistently wise, like the food has always been pretty consistently good. I don't know if they're coming from like different geographicals and just like creating restaurants here, but more so like a couple spots that really like kind of blew my mind was like Q Bistro.
Yep.
With the fried chicken, KFC, cheese corn. Like even though it was just like KFC, I think whenever Ryu takes me to those places, he always gives me like a backstory of like the restaurant or like how he met them. Yeah. He gave me this whole backstory of this like Korean mom or family would reinvent or like brought the recipe back from Korea and then goes back every like 2 years to like revamp the recipe. But just like those little things, those little mom and pop shops that he'll always take me to. So it brings me joy to like check out them, and like I'm always like my expectations are like okay, it always exceeds my expectations.
Yeah, I mean Paul's the ultimate host. All the food porn, all the shots, like he's just such a pro at making it all pop. You're part of the Jump Force family now. Can you talk about what led up to that?
Yeah. I think what first started off with was, I think it was Where Vegas Eats. It might have been that. Well, before that, sorry. He flew me out that one time, and then we would do some ad hoc promos for his clients, like a monthly or bi-monthly basis. And then our relationship built, and he's like, yeah, I want to get you on my team. Like he tried a couple times to like get me to quit my job to work with him full time and move over here, but I just couldn't let go. I was like, I'll work with you guys, but I'll be a contractor and like help you guys out in that sense. So I think we did those then, and then we transitioned to Where Vegas Eats. They brought me on as the art director for that, which was really cool. We did it for maybe like half a year or so. Got to meet like the Station Casino marketing team, which was really cool. So more of doing the account management, but like a corporate view, so like more structured, more like planned out things. And then now I run like Cali Bombs, which has been really successful. And then I did some like Jump Force University, some trainings, some like,
oh yeah,
I did some of that, which was pretty cool. Just sharing like how to like put together like a shot list and like take photos and like videos, like what are some like tips and tricks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
So the duties, social media, consulting, is there anything coming up in the future with Jump or other types of fields you'd want to enter into?
Nothing. Me and Ryu haven't really talked too much about that. But yeah, if just account management, I guess, would be like one where helping and support the clients, both yours and Jump Force's clients.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
How many accounts are you running now?
4 or 5. I just picked up a few new ones actually, like another
Seattle?
one in Seattle. So I have one in Seattle. Now I have 2 actually.
Nice.
And then one potentially is going to be in Portland. So that'll be fun because I'm gonna be flying out there like every 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not too far. It's like a 50-minute flight, and then one in Vegas. So yeah, so maybe 4, and then it's gonna go up to 7 or 8. soon.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other social media managers in Seattle just doing it like you?
There probably is. I haven't really networked a lot because of last year what happened with my sports injury. So I didn't really like. I just kind of like did physical therapy. Focused on that. But I haven't really like reached out or chatted with some yet. But in the future, that's on the agenda.
Yeah, I think I've seen maybe like 2 or 3, but yeah, nothing to the level that you're doing at all. But it's interesting to go from city to city and just see how they do things and what they do. One big thing with us between LA and Vegas is the lighting.
Yeah.
I now call it LA style when I have to shoot it without a light. Obviously, it's a preference, and both kinds of formats blow up well. But talk to me about your disdain for the light.
I don't know. It just wasn't like natural for me. I get it though. I get the usage of why it needs to be used. There are times where I'm like shooting in a kitchen. I'm like, man, I could really use that light right now. But then it's so hard to like, how do you, it's a skill for you guys because you're both holding the phone and the light, and you're like, it's got to be in sync. But I think just like creature of habit, right? We've grown up doing it for years without the light, and now that we have to bring the light, maybe it's like silly that we have to like now have to use extra light. But hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I mean, both styles
exactly.
still work. I would say LA, from the foodies I've been here, I don't know, maybe only 15% of, less than 15% of the LA foodies use a light.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Feels that way.
But you guys need it, especially in the dining room, especially because Vegas, like, I think the biggest difference is in LA, a lot of the restaurants have the natural light that comes through in like the dining rooms. But then you got like the restaurants here in like the Cosmo or like Aria, like there's no windows. What light are you gonna use? And then if you use the built-in light, the flash, it sucks. So you need that extra light, which makes a lot of sense.
So what would you do if you went to Carbone then? How do you do it?
I would call one of you guys to to phone in and let me borrow one of your guys' light, or I'd have to do an interim solution where I'll get my girlfriend's phone and just turn on her flash and then kind of just like use that. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's funny. What's the evolution been like for you when you started doing video till now, like post-processing and all that?
Yeah, I think the transition was definitely a learning curve. Growing up, I never did video, unless it was just amateur video, just like at a concert, you just film, right? But this time it's different. So I really had to like research and like watch other people who were better at filming and just watch how they styled their like angles and also their cuts. Like trimming the fat like was a big one because back then 1-minute videos were cool, but now it's like the lesser the better. So you need to like really like adapt to those certain styles, and then just leveraging like those third-party apps like LumaFusion and Shot have really played a really crucial like tool for getting it to like that TikTok style 9 seconds.
Okay, and then I'm not familiar with LumaShot?
LumaFusion.
LumaFusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Adobe Photoshop, but like the mobile, like you can use it on mobile. It's like $30, but well worth it. I've been using it for the past couple years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Check it out.
Also, the importance of travel has been big for you personally. I'm in Barcelona, Copenhagen, NYC, Rome, so many amazing spots in Europe. How has that influenced your work?
Yeah. I love it because I think as a foodie though, when you go to those spots, then you start looking for like a little bit of those Instagram-y foods, places that like people reviewed on like YouTube or TikTok. So that also influences like where I go eat. And then sometimes I'll dedicate like a day or two just to check out those spots. But it's like, gives me the flexible freedom to like not just be strictly of like, okay, do the kitchen filming like start to finish, but now it's more so like top 5 things to eat in Florence, Italy, or like, hey, this is the best 3 dessert spots you should check out in like Athens, Greece. So like gives me like, and then it also lets you tap into the market of like the Greece, or I'm sorry, the European Instagram world. So broadens your spectrum of followers and influence.
Totally.
Yeah.
Any place, any favorite place?
Favorite place that I've eaten?
Or any country?
Country? Gosh, I really love Italy. I really love Greece too. Like that coastal vibes, but also good food. A lot of like those spots that you kind of have to like, if you know a local, they'll like recommend you. I love going to like those places.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. We're gonna kind of go into the 10 questions to finish it out.
Sure.
Chris, what is your go-to takeout food?
Sushi.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that changes my second question then.
Okay.
You're going on a first date. You have 3 choices for cuisine. Which one are you going to and why? Korean, French, or Indian?
Am I listing all 3 or?
Which one?
Oh.
You can choose between the 3 cuisines. She told you these are the 3 she's down with.
Oh, what was say that? Say
Korean, French, and Indian.
Korean.
Yeah. Okay. Korean barbecue?
Oh no, like oh gosh, there's so many different styles of Korean type food. Do I have to choose one?
No.
Okay.
No, but barbecue would probably not be the.
No, it would not be
the first choice. Not at all. I agree. Lots of us are kind of over watching food content, especially on other platforms like TikTok when you and your friends are posting the same content. Are there any food accounts that inspire you?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, Richard, Hangry Blogger. I really like the way he shoots his content and his transitions. Makes me want to like cut it like that. Who else?
The Hangry Blogger is great.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I don't know who else comes top of mind.
What kind of content do you consume then, like in your free time?
What type of content do I consume? Gosh, I like to look at like, and I'm really into football, so I watch like NFL like highlights, NBA highlights, Barstool stuff. If I'm going to like a new place that I'm traveling to, I'll like to look up foodies who are in that spot and like the places that they reviewed. So I'll do my due diligence there. Yeah.
Same. Who's your favorite team, football team?
My favorite football team?
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks.
Has it always been the Seahawks?
Yeah, it has.
Oh, so that you moved there and then
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. Shit.
I was always a Seahawks fan.
Damn. Yeah, I was interested in that answer. Well, it wasn't going to be Chargers or Rams, but give me your top 3 canned beverages of all time. Alcohol is fine too.
Top 3 canned beverages. Gosh. I don't drink soda, so what are some sparkling water brands that are in a can?
Were you just drinking one?
Yeah. What's the grapefruit one? What's it called? Spindrift.
All time.
No. Pellegrino, if it was in a can.
Yep.
Is it in a can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
Pellegrino.
it can be.
Pellegrino would be one.
Okay.
Gosh. Hengso Sase, for anyone who is Mandarin Chinese knows that brand.
Yep.
Gosh, the third one. Growing up, I drank Dr. Pepper, so Dr. Pepper.
Okay, there you go. What are your short-term goals as a content creator for 2023 or the next 365 days?
Gosh, I would love to get to 400K, but no, just continue to create content, supporting local businesses, and checking out new spots around Seattle, LA. I think one of the challenges I enjoy putting myself against is like going to places where I've never shot that type of food before, and then you gotta like be really creative and like how to like amplify it. So that's those are my short-term goals.
I love doing that. It's such a challenge, and,
Right?
and you're in your brain. In my brain, I'm thinking, oh my god, this is gonna completely bomb. But how do I make this not bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. You've been to so many events over the years. I'm not asking for the best one you've ever been to, unless you know that. But are there any super memorable events that you've been to, say in LA or something like that?
I think the Virgin Hotel grand opening one was probably the most funnest and extravagant one I've been to, just because they flew me in. They
Yep.
got to meet so many people, and they put on a really good show. And everything was very, the agenda was, or everything was so well organized.
I agree.
Yeah.
Shout out to Curvin Doak.
Yeah.
What's your number one favorite Taiwanese dish?
My favorite Taiwanese dish, jumping.
Jumping. So I'm kind of a Twinkie. Which one is that?
It's the green onion pancake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you down with stinky tofu?
Yeah, I do. I do like stinky tofu.
Yeah. Have you been to Taiwan Deli here?
No.
Oh,
Is it good?
pretty good. Yeah.
Put that on my bookmark.
All right. Next time, I'll take you.
Okay.
Favorite book ever? You seem like you read. Unlike most of the guests on the show.
Favorite book, Harry Potter and
Oh, yeah?
The Prisoner of Azkaban. That is my favorite one.
And finally, your top 3 favorite restaurants in Seattle, because I need
My
recommendations.
favorite top three.
3 restaurants in Seattle that you've been to.
Okay, let's see. Falafel Salam. Not being biased because it's my client, but they do really good falafels there, and I'm a really big falafel critic, so they do it. Shimmy does it really good.
All right.
That's one. I really like Jerk Shack, which is Caribbean food, in downtown Seattle, and let's see, third one. I was pretty impressed by Chiho Bistro, which they do like they have this truffle black roasted duck that was really good, and they have this truffle fried rice and truffle xiaolongbao.
Fancy.
Never had that before, and for a Chinese restaurant in downtown Seattle, this is pretty good.
That's awesome.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's been, 13 years since I've been in Seattle. I went, I took my wife on her first Patriots game. I think this was Russell's first season. Mm-hmm. Like Wes Welker and Aaron Hernandez were still on the team.
Wow.
And before the Legion of Boom became the Legion of Boom, and the Patriots lost that game. And but we had aside from the game, we had a great time, and we definitely wanted to go back.
Come back, let me know.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, thanks for being on.
Thanks for
It's a real
having me.
treat. Follow
Fun.
at The Irregular Lens on all the channels. And till next time, see ya. Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Phil podcast. For more information about me and where I've been dining recently, check out my IG and TikTok at Las Vegas Phil. Feel free to text or leave me a voicemail about anything you want, 702-551-4445. Stay tuned as a new episode of the show debuts every Monday morning.